Good day, ma'am. Now I'm going to report the challenges and problems of prosecutor. First is salary and budget problem. Because of the lack of fundings, the budget for prosecutors' salary is not that high. Low wages but heavy workload means that there are always vacant positions for the prosecutors. Many apply to become judges who have higher salaries and benefits. So this problem in the prosecutor is very common. They are not paid the exact salary in their jobs. That's why most of them are aiming or applying to become a judge to have a higher salaries and benefits. Next is prosecution pay leaks. Most victims of human rights abuses in the Philippines do not bother to file complaint because the chances that it will be dealt promptly and lead to a conviction are low. So there are a lot of crimes that haven't been reported or filed because of the people lack of confidence that their complaint will be dealt with or responded immediately. That's why most of victims handle justice on their own hands. Next is lack of effective independence. Addressing the shortage of prosecutor brought on by the heavy workload and low salaries by giving the police authority to prosecute cases is bound to create more serious consequences than the lack of resources itself. So because of the shortage of prosecutor, they cannot do their duties well. They are giving the authority to police to conduct investigation, and depending on what the police investigation gathered in particular crime. Next is failure to do on-site investigation. Failure to do on-site investigation and perform other basic functions. According to DOJ Circular 16, Section 16, prosecutors are supposed to supervise on-site police investigation to suspicious death, ensure that the post-mortem examination are performed, and that the chain of custody of material evidence is properly documented. In the case, for example, is in the case of the land reform activist Enrico Cabanit. Cabanit was shot dead in Panabo City, Mindanao. No prosecutor came to supervise the police investigation or take charge of the evidence. It was later learned that the camera used by the police to take photographs of the crime scene was not functioning. The lethal bullet produced by the police investigator also did not match the findings of the forensic expert who conducted a follow-up investigation. So that's why, because of that, the case might have conflicts and justice might not be served at all. That is why prosecutors should be present in the on-site investigation. Next is no further inquiries. Prosecutors do not typically investigate further when there are challenges to a resolution of probable cause because they depend heavily on the information provided by the police investigators, particularly in cases not falling under the inquest procedure. So no further inquiries. Prosecutors do not gather more additional information about the specific case. They only depend on the given information from the police and then no further research. When they are presenting in the court, they are not prepared. That's why most of the cases that they are handling fails. Next is getting away with delays. According to rules of court, Rule 112, Section 3, prosecutors are required to resolve complaints within 10 days after receiving the affidavits of both of the complainants and respondents. So prosecutors are supposed to resolve complaints within 10 days or responded by the given amount of time. That's why some filed complaints are being played and worst case scenario, no progress at all. And prosecutors get away with it. Next is jurisdictional problem. Under the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law of 1988, RA 6657 Section 50, the Department of Agrarian Reform has exclusive original jurisdiction over all matters involving the implementation of agrarian reform. But despite this law, the prosecutor routinely take cases involving land reform dispute. So prosecutors are taking cases that are not under their jurisdiction, and it causes conflict between the DAR and the prosecutor's investigation. Because of this, the victims lost the justice that they are aiming to get. Next is ill-prepared for trial. Prosecutors often appear in court without adequate preparation of themselves and others. It is the prosecutor's responsibility to ensure that matters concerning the trial are well organized in order to proceed on the schedule. So prosecutors don't have enough information and evidence to present in the court. Due to this irresponsibility, most trials fail because the prosecutors are not well prepared. Next is acting as mediator. Prosecutors are not permitted to act as mediators in criminal cases, but in practice they do so, particularly in cases involving bad debts. In order to reduce court dockets and the Congress, the court of creditors seeking to use them as the facto collection agencies. So prosecutors should only focus on their job as prosecutors, but instead they act as mediators, which they are not allowed to do so. Mediator is like Rapi Tulpo. And that's all my report, ma'am. Thank you.